Welcome back to the JLL Coaching Pod, episode 35. This is the morning of the night before. Is that what they say? Me and Chris are out. Christiachos, or however you say it in Greek, will be out. Am I in focus? Focus up, camera, focus up. We've got a big day ahead of us. 50 kilometers will be run later today. And to say I'm not nervous is an understatement. I'm nervous. I'm aware that there's going to be a lot of pain later, and the next few days will probably be quite fatiguing and hard, but that's cool. Looking forward to it. Chris's foot is already kind of injured, which is a strong place to start. I will be amazed if he finishes it, but we'll try and carry each other through, and I think there'll be a lot of lessons from this 50k. We're setting the tone for the winter. We're trying to do a lot of ultras. I think next will be a double marathon, so like 84k and then 100k after that. So it's exciting times, really. Lots to live for. Yeah, you can probably feel like I'm a little bit nervous because that's gonna be fun. 50k's. Starting the season off, first ultra marathon. If I die, I die, but I've told so many people I've got to do it. I'm going to do it, therefore I have to do it. So that's a good tip. You want to do something hard? Tell people you're going to do it. And then, well, you got to do it. Sipping on a little coffee now, getting me going. Been waking up hella early. Quite stressed at the minute, not going to lie. I would say that thinking about why I'm doing everything I'm doing and focusing on learning and progressing as a human being as a priority is bringing me back down to earth. So I was up early this morning listening to some movement model stuff, always learning, which is good. And basically my life is just walking around and gathering data to support my biases of complex dynamic systems theory. Oh my God. This week was actually... So dynamical systems it's something that's actually come from maths. I didn't even realize this, but it came from maths. The theory came from maths. It came from chaos theory that was kind of like evolved over the last few hundred years. And dynamical systems, it's basically, if you've done an engineering degree, you probably know a lot about it. It's in most good engineering degrees. That's what you're going to kind of learn about. And I went and started to look at the maths behind some of the dynamical systems. Mate, when I say I have no idea, I mean I have no idea. Like, they are talking about formulas for putting a spot in space. An item in a random location. They're writing formulas for that, and how there is a dynamical formula, a dynamic formula that you can fit this in and change the formula based on where the spot on Earth is. And I'm like, what is happening? How is that a real thing? So yeah, I've just been having my socks blown off. There's a whole lecture series of the maths behind it. I am not going to listen to it, I don't think, because it is just beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me. I much prefer the philosophical side, and then I can at least pretend to understand some of it, because the maths is on a different level. But anyway, on my quest to confirm my biases, as any good cult guru should do, I was having a conversation with a guy in the gym, awesome guy. I actually don't know his name, which is bad, but he's really into Olympic weightlifting. Awesome guy, works in finance, obviously super smart, and just talking about books. And he recommended one book called Range. Now, it's by the same guy who's done The Sports Gene, which is probably a book that you might have heard more of. It's called David Epstein. And it confirms my biases, which is great. Effectively, whenever you start personal training, probably, potentially, it happened to me, but probably will happen to you, maybe, I'm not sure. But generally, the advice you'll be given is specialize. Become the glute person, become the shoulder person, become the transformation person, become the rehab person, become the X, Y, and Z. Fit this market. And that makes logical sense, right? Like there's a specialize so people know what you do, know who you are, and you can market the problems that you solve. Excellent. Makes a lot of sense. I personally kind of think it's bullshit, and a lot of these more evolved or developed careers is not the word I'm looking for, industries is the word I'm looking for. A lot of these more developed industries have the opposite approach. So when you become a lawyer, you will do 6 months in every single part of the firm, and then you'll have a choice of where you want to go. You'll have learned something about everything, and then you can make a more kind of broad decision. It's the opposite of what you're recommended in personal training. Now, just think of this. Who do you trust more, lawyers or PTs? Yeah, lawyers. Let's try and think about these people that have been doing it for hundreds of years and copy from them. Same thing happens when you are a doctor. You are a general practitioner first. You learn broadly first. Same exact thing happens when you are a chef. Now, problems occur potentially in businesses when the CEO has just come through the sales route, has never worked in marketing, HR, project management. They've just done sales all the way up to CEO. Why is that a problem? They don't understand every aspect of the business. They don't have a general broad spectrum. In the top chefs in the world start from the bottom, and they'll clean the dishes, they'll shine the forks, shine the spoons, and they'll work their way around the kitchen before they level up. Generalizing first and maybe just forever is likely to set you up for more success. So number one predictor that someone was going to become an executive was that they went to a top 5 business school. Number 2 was that they've been in a variety of jobs. So that's not what you might not think that. You might think, oh yeah, they've got to be a specialized, even within the same company, a variety of departments within a company. That's his number 2 predictor. Generalize, baby. Generalize. And I'm going to give more examples throughout, but it just absolutely tickles my pickle with regards to confirming what I think about the human body. And we don't know that much, right? Like, we're noobs with everything, absolutely everything. We don't know that much. It's like we're effectively out here trying to watch complex YouTube videos on dynamical systems and the mathematics behind it all, and we're lost. We're absolutely lost. But we have a few ideas. We do something that looks like this and we'll get this outcome. You want to build muscle, you should be lifting weights. That's probably going to send you in the right direction. But generally, we do not understand the precise and exact reasonings behind these outcomes. We have theories and ideas, and they're supported by evidence, but no one is certain. And there is still so much to learn, particularly when it comes to biology and performance outcomes. So a good idea as a coach, as a PT, is generalize. Learn about power, learn about speed, learn about hypertrophy, learn about nutrition fundamentals, learn about psychology, learn about all of these things broadly. You'll have things that you're more curious about during some periods of your career, and other things that you're more curious about later. That's absolutely normal and probably a good thing. If people tell you to specialize, you can tell them to go learn from lawyers, because they're the goats. So this also applies, in my opinion, to how you would program training. So, for example, you've got one of the best powerlifters in the world, and therefore you're probably going to do a lot of squat, bench, and deadlift. That's what powerlifting is: squat, bench, and deadlift. You want them to get good outcomes. You're going to get them to do a lot of squat, bench, and deadlift. That's very specific. And what is the risk? What is the potential risk of being too specific? And I'm not talking necessarily about injuries. I'm actually talking about performance. Yes, there is a risk of injury. You're doing too much, too soon, whatever, and the system cannot handle the stress that's being put under it. The total load is too much. But what if you actually worked on some power qualities? What if you actually worked on some speed, some elastic, some plyometric qualities, as well as the squat, bench, and deadlift? We don't really know for certain what kind of impact that will have, but it's likely. It will definitely have a impact. And bear in mind, I'm not suggesting that the whole program should change. I'm merely suggesting that potentially a little bit of power, of plyos, could help their success in the long term and the long run. Now, long term and time is a very important thing to consider here, because there is an argument. You've got young kids, and a lot of people talk about you've got to specify them early. Choose a sport, get them to do that sport, dial it in. Tiger Woods is the prime example. He's like on YouTube when he's 2 or 3 already with a clean golf swing. 2 or 3, clean golf swing. Mad. And he just played golf. And then on the other side, you've got someone like Roger Federer, who did every single sport: rugby, basketball, football, tennis as well, of course, and has gone on to be one of the best tennis players in the world. Now, Tiger Woods' story is more logical. You're like, you got to be very specific if you're going to do something in particular. Well, I just need to get the door. This is bad. Sorry about that. Interrupted by the builders next door. Awesome. Love having builders working on the house next door. It's very good for morale. Anyway, so effectively, you've got these 2 high performers, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, and they've got completely different paths to the top of the top. Now, generally, you'd think if you want someone to be good at something, the principle of specificity suggests you should do that thing over and over again repeatedly. And what's been shown in studies with kids is the highest indicator of injury is being too specific, doing too much of just one sport. I think it's 9 months in a row of one sport without doing anything else. It's like the highest indicator that kid will have injury. And these injuries typically have been just in the adult population, but since we've specified, because there's more money in sports and people, whatever reasons, people want their kids to just do one sport and be the best in the world. Awesome. But you're increasing the likelihood of injury. It's too specific. You need that variability for a bunch of complex reasons that we probably don't understand. But being too specific, it's a principle. Being too specific has its trade-offs as well. You do want to sprinkle in stuff that people don't necessarily think they need with regards to general physical qualities, just to keep them healthy, probably. To keep them healthy and to keep them capable of doing a variety of different things. That's super important. Yes. So effectively, I'm pretty pro being a general practitioner, in case you can't tell. Keeping a bit of variation in your training year round. I just like to keep all the physical qualities. If you're just lifting weights and you're doing no cardio, there's going to be a trade-off. You're going to start breathing really heavily after your sets. It's going to take minutes and minutes and minutes to recover versus less time. You want to be ticking these boxes of trying to hit every single physical quality at all times. And this book range by David Epstein, I haven't even read it yet. I'm like talking about it non-stop, listening to a couple of podcasts, so I'm pretty much an expert. But I will get the book. It's on the list. It is effectively a critique of the 10,000 hour rule. Now, this is the rule. I think Malcolm Gladwell kind of popularized it. It's like you got to do about 10,000 hours to be successful at something. Now, the interesting thing about this is not all hours are created equal. I don't know if you can hear this in the background. I think we're all right. I think the mic's good. There might be a little bit of zhuzh in the background from the builders. Where was I? So 10,000 hours in order to be successful at anything. So there's been studies on chess players I don't think this is the best time to do a podcast because it's just going to distract me. Even though I don't think you can hear that, I think we'll crack on. We'll crack on. Sorry if you can hear noise in the background. We're just going to push through. They did it on chess players. How long does it take for you to become an international master? You've got Grandmaster, International Master just below it. It's bloody hard to do. You have to have a really high rating. I think it's like around 2,000. Highest I ever got was 1,350. And that was playing for about 2 years during COVID. Excellent game. Love it. Now with chess, it's a closed game. Yes, it's complex and dynamic, but there are a limit in the number of outcomes you can choose and you can get. That's why AI systems can outperform humans, even when those AI systems were very, very new and the quality of them wasn't just there. So now, like, any simple phone can beat any human being at chess because we just don't have the ability to compute that many variations of movement. Anyway, what they found when they looked at these international masters of chess, looking at the number of hours of deliberate practice that it took to become that good, there was actually massive variation. So the average is 10,000 hours, but some people can get to that international master level with like 3,000 hours of work. Others, it took 20,000 hours. So there's always variation just depending on your ability, your qualities, who you are, loads of different factors, right? Like it's impossible to speak about every single factor. So the point is we have a lot of variability in our society across the population, and taking that into consideration when programming, when thinking about helping a client get good outcomes is very important, as well as with your career. Thinking about broad spectrum, learning outside of the world of fitness and health to gather principles in and just get a better perspective is hugely valuable for your development as a coach and for your clients. And I'm going to call it there. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for listening.